Oh. Close one. Very meta. So meta. So operating it. Yes. It's so creepy. Absolutely creepy. Weird, huh? Hi, guys. You what? There's Maya. Okay. You guys can turn your cameras on. I haven't figured out a way to hear them through that though, so they'll contribute through chat. Anybody can turn the camera on? There we go. Hey, Bailey. Oh, look at that smile. Alex, Makai, and Maya, are you really here? Yeah. All right. Yay. Okay. Okay, guys, you can hear me, right? Okay. Unfortunately, I haven't figured out a way for you guys to hear us. So unless I figure that out, you're going to have to contribute. We're having discussions through chat. Okay. We did that the other bell, and it actually worked pretty well, especially sharing pieces of writing, which is part of what we're going to do today. So I think we're all good. All right. So the question mark people I had, I'm still kind of getting my stuff straight here, so bear with me. Question mark about Maya. So Maya, you're going to be remote, even though you're listed as being here because you, for some reason, right? But you know your head. Okay. And where's your mic? You what? Usually it's near my headset, but I come in for about what's there. Okay. Get that going there. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to go and screen share over to the agenda like I usually do. And in case it's not already obvious by my posts, I'm going to keep the same routines of like vocab and grammar where they are, despite when we're going to have live sessions and when we're not. And the schedule's crazy because of the EOC. You guys know that Thursday and Friday are just like come in late, have lunch, and that's cohort the rest of the day, right? Yeah. So we have live class today. You have your B day tomorrow. We'll have live class on remote Wednesday. And that's the only live times that I have with you this week. So we'll keep stuff going.
You still coming Thursday, Friday?
You what?
You still coming Thursday, Friday?
Yeah, but you just stay in cohort the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you come in, lunch is start, and then they did not build a bell schedule for the rest of the day after that cohort. I wish they would have, but it would have been short enough. So I guess they didn't want to bother with it, which I'm not happy about. But anyway.
So do we have to come in for lunch since we're A1?
There's some time that you're supposed to arrive around then. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. Yeah. So anyway, there will not be live sessions that day, organized live sessions. So, but we'll keep everything going. You know, I'll post videos or whatever, and then we'll have, and then next week we'll have class on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we're off on Friday because that leads into spring break. We have that Friday off, so we won't be able to have 3 classes next week. No, there are 2 more weeks, Alex, after spring break. There's a Thursday and Friday one, and then there's a Monday and Tuesday one, during which the same things will happen. Those A and B days will both turn into cohort days. Everything is garbage is the overall theme here. I've been saying that all through the pandemic. Everything is garbage. It's like my mantra. Cynicism.
You are a sinner.
Okay. I'm a bitter realist. If you're a cynic, yeah. If you're a defensive cynic. Okay, let me refine my. Oh, great. Oh, I know what I need to do. Sorry.
That's a weird mouse.
It's trackball mouse. So you just move your thumb.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. It was very gone. It's actually really easy. I don't want
Nope, not that one. There it is. Nope. Wow, guys, I'm getting off to a slow start here. Sorry.
You got a long time.
Yeah, we got like
It's all good.
We do. This is true.
Go ahead.
All right. Hopefully you're seeing this at home. I didn't have this posted in the morning, but I do now. There is lesson 21 with the usual accompanying video. It's due by Wednesday night for grammar. Vocab lesson 11, creative usage, is due by tonight. And the video notes on setting, plot structure, and narrative speak are due by tonight. That doesn't mean there's like 17 videos. It's just 5 like last time. But there's only 1 or 2 videos per skill there. So we'll do those, and then we'll be applying those probably to another short story in another day or 2 here. But for now, we did some questions on Miss Brill. So both at home and here, if you could get your Quran books out. 174, I believe. How much did the story put you in a good mood about looking forward to being an old person? Satisfaction, happiness that you can achieve. But was she really ever happy?
But you could have faked it to himself and maybe would have had
Now we're gonna get into the blue pill, red pill discussion.
Are we watching The Matrix in here?
I've never watched it.
Oh my god.
What?
We're watching.
American are you?
We're watching it tomorrow.
They're making a new one right now.
What? I hate remakes. I'm sick of them.
No, they're making a new, like, additional sequel. Okay, guys, got your Brian books. Access your questions as well, and let's talk about this story. And then we're going to switch over and look at a prompt that you might have already glimpsed at, and do a little writing practice. All with the purpose of kind of like thinking about character and how characters change and develop, and looking for shifts and epiphanies and all that stuff that were spoken about in the last batch of videos. So, with the story, it's nice and short and it's really compact. How would you define the literary point of view of the story, and how would you then characterize the nature and temperament of Miss Brill as you infer through that point of view? What you think? Well, technically, what is it first of all? It's definitely third person, okay, but that doesn't narrow it down enough. Which kind? It's definitely limited, right? A couple people said omniscient first bill. I said, well, there's one way to figure that out, right? To be omniscient, that narrator has to be something beyond the scope and senses of the character. And does that happen in the story? No. Okay, so it's limited third. And I would say it's a very close limited third person. How many people read Pride and Prejudice? Okay, you guys, Alex did too, I think. Pride and Prejudice is a very similar point of view, completely different mood, obviously, but it has a narrator that is not Elizabeth, but very much knows what's going on inside Elizabeth's head, and almost kind of sounds like Elizabeth, and looks at things the way that Elizabeth would look at them, right? I think it's very similar, but it's of course a different mood. But you hear the narrator kind of going along with the desperation to kind of cover up what might really be going on in Miss Brill's head and heart if she had some sort of epiphany, which of course she does, right? Not necessarily going. Is that Mr. Bowling? We are doing a simulcast here. You guys want to say hi to the superintendent here? Let me come off the screen share. It's best of both worlds. Yeah, in a way, except we can't hear them. Still working on that, but we're getting there. All right, so what does that point of view kind of reveal about her? The fact that it's like close, not her, and then how it develops like the story. What do we kind of discover about her? She's lonely, right? That's basically what happens, right? She's telling herself that she's not. She's telling herself that she loves to go to the park and she loves to do these things. She loves to people watch. There's nothing necessarily wrong with any of those things, but maybe we kind of discover through the course of it that's maybe all she has. And then when someone's rude to her, it kind of comes crashing down. And it's not a good epiphany, but it's an epiphany in the truth of her true emotional state is kind of revealed, right? I'm probably leaping ahead in questions here. So how do her surroundings come into play in defining her as a character and how she develops?
Surroundings give her happiness and joy because it makes her feel like she's affiliated with somebody or something.
Yeah, that's good. You're sounding so official the way you said that, Bobby. You're giving some kind of oral report. Yeah, definitely. And the keyword there being makes her feel like, right? There's kind of ignorance is bliss going on there. But of course, that can be shattered by somebody pointing something out. Stupid young people. Obviously, she's old, right? We're not worried about the number there. What are overall circumstances that kind of lead to this epiphany? Like, what does she do? How does she spend her time? And we talked about how she gets to the park, right? But outside of that, who is she that we know of?
What did she do for a living?
Sure, partly, yeah.
She was a teacher.
Yeah, she's a teacher. And she talks and she thinks about her students, right? The narrator says that, but it doesn't sound like does she have any direct family with her? Does she have anybody that she's with on a daily basis, like really having real conversations with? It doesn't really sound like it, right? So when it comes down to it, simply put, yeah, it's kind of slowly revealed that she's just a lonely, solitary person, even though she tries to convince herself that she's having a good time. So that's why she, quote unquote, enjoys her Sundays in the park. And why especially Sunday? Because there's more people out, right? And there's young people out, and it's got this kind of almost generic like French impression of like, romance. Oh, love the teacher. He wants to kiss her, and she says, no, not yet. That old bag's over there, right? And you laugh for a second until you realize how pitiful that is with how it affects her, right? So her emotional state at the beginning of the story, again, seemingly cheerful, looking forward to things, and obviously by the end, how does the ending alter your impression of what her mood was in the first place, or does it? We can kind of combine the last couple questions.
She has an epiphany. She realizes how lonely she is because the young couple make fun of her. Where they say she's watching us, I don't know exactly. And then she goes home and puts her coat away, but then it's crying. Maybe the coat is her.
Like, wearing the relationship on your sleeve.
Literally, huh? That's good.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Take a cliche in there and turn it into a reality, right? But yeah, that's actually a really good way of putting it, right? The fur is a representation of her, right? And so when she puts it away and she hears it crying, and of course the narrator kind of goes along with her, right? Surely it's like even earlier in the day there was like hints of cracks, right? It's almost like WandaVision, right? Like everything's like ideal and pretty, but then you start to see these cracks, right? And she's really miserable underneath it all, and that's what's like causing this facade of like joy and the supposed perfection and stuff. Same thing here, right? Like what were the cracks that happened like earlier in the story before the thing happens where people are rude to her and she really starts to fall apart? I'm forgetting. Yes, also, yes. So I want to talk about WandaVision now. That's good though. Yeah, the beekeeper is the only one of the first ones.
We're like talking about her.
The helicopter.
She's like conveying them. Yeah.
Stop it.
You guys have to, like, the couple was talking about her. Like, she was like, why is she-
Even before that though.
What do you guys have to do?
Really subtle before that.
In the first sentence, when it says but.
Uh-huh. I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to find these things. There was no sense, but when you open your mouth, there was a faint chill, like a chill of a glass of ice water before you sip. And there's a couple other mentions of that. Something about the weather. Let me see if I can find it right now. Let's see. There's a couple other places where it says, could that be a chill? No, it's not a chill in the air. Stuff like that, where like there's coldness like creeping in. That's definitely kind of the first signs of that. It's definitely one of the stories you go back and look, you can kind of see really subtle foreshadowing that's gonna change that mood. And yeah, so we already talked about the, but Bobby answered like the last three questions all in like 3 sentences there. Okay. So did everybody kind of feel that like it seems to be the first start, which of course doesn't make sense, right? It has to be her, right? But if she's so still not consciously self-aware that she doesn't realize that she's starting to cry, which can happen, it can like kind of creep up on you. And I'm sure there's been times in our lives when you've gone somewhere and just kind of like watched people, and there's nothing wrong with people watching, but maybe there's a little bit of, or you've seen someone else, it doesn't mean that they're a complete loser or something, right? But you can kind of like entertain yourself in your head and then kind of realize like, well, I'm not really doing anything here, right?
Not every Sunday.
No, not every Sunday. No. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead, make sure I don't run short on time, and move over to this prompt that I have as an assignment here. You guys all on your computers right now? Okay. It's short for Johnny Gets His Gun. It is a real short fiction prompt from a past AP test. They're probably easier to look at your own rather than my screen share and just keep listening. I want to think of the prompt a little bit differently than they have it because we always want to use the word complex or complexity. So the way it reads is, write a well-organized essay in which you analyze how Trumbo uses such techniques as point of view, selection of detail, and syntax to characterize the complexity of the relationship between the young man and the father is how we want to look at that. And you certainly don't need to limit yourself to point of view, selection of detail, and syntax. Obviously, those are things that are going on or wouldn't be mentioned. But a lot of the prompts don't even give you those up front. They just let you use whatever you come up with. And it's always going to say characterize the complexity of the relationship. So what we want to do, as it says on the little assignment here, no pressure, this isn't a grade or anything. Pretend you're doing the short fiction prompts in the AP test, read the attached prompt, and do a little pre-writing, and then compose an intro/thesis and hopefully a brief outline of how you might proceed with your line of reasoning from there. Don't try to write a whole thing. We want to focus on a really solid thesis after you give it a read. And remember, if you don't name, characterize, or define what the complexity of the relationship is, then you have not written a thesis that's going to get a point. Okay, you're just restating in different words the prompt that you're given. Okay, so give you about 15 minutes. It'll take a little while to give this a good power read, and then intro thesis and a little bit of outline. I should make myself shut up. Can't believe the secret until it came.
Oh.
I should have mentioned before, you can do it either way, but feel free to do this with handwriting because from this point, we're going to be doing all our essays handwritten to get ready for the test. You don't have to turn it in, so.
The syntax structure.
Sentence structure.
Yeah.
So not so much paragraph structure.
Yeah,
Actual
that's
grammatical sentence structure. Kind of hard to write about. To really attach it to meaning. You know?
Mhm.
There's outlets scattered around, not quite for everybody, but not familiar with the road. Finish long ago. Your computer already shut off.
I just put it to sleep. It doesn't have a lot of time.
About 5 more minutes. Tops. Feel weird being all the way up the front row.
Yeah.
Thank God you're like Scout standing on the Radley's porch at the end of To Kill a Mockingbird. I understand that.
I wish I remembered that book, but I don't. That was close. Totally not absorb these times at all. You may know. 1:15. So dark minutes. We won't kill it all, don't worry. Probably a long day. You know, you got no break. Oh yeah, except for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Jared here, but it's kind of hard to imagine that, like, until now we've been like sitting in here literally all day, every day, isn't it?
You guys have windows in here.
No,
It's a vibe.
It's raw.
like we don't know whether it's snowing or anything like that. Or, you know, nuclear apocalypse could be happening right now. I have no idea.
We have the windows.
Yeah, the reason I have an inside room, and I've always had an inside room all 24 years that I've been here, is because we only got air conditioning 5 or 6 years ago, and before that, the only rooms that were air conditioned were the inside rooms. So I always insisted on an inside room because I sweat like a pig.
That's nice.
Right. You think about switching.
TMI. What?
You just think about switching.
What do you mean?
Sounds really nice. Get the vitamin D, you know.
Bobby is the voice of
It's not
reason.
vitamin D or C.
It's deep.
You get vitamin D.
Get the vitamin right if you want to sound smart.
Yeah, it's different.
I kind of like it. It's like less distractions.
What?
Yeah, we do meet some people. The other day, the first thing came with a ladder, put it right in the leader's door, and was like working on something. We have no idea. Have to go there.
I miss Mr. Weaver.
All right. If you feel like you got it,
That way.
peace.
I mean, a little bit.
Outside of the prompt itself.
I think so. It's like some symbolism.
Oh yeah. Well, there's definitely a heavy symbol, right? Which would be the
Fishing rod.
fishing rod is definitely a symbol. No author's going to take the time to write that much detail about this random object unless it's a symbol of something, right? Okay, so working backwards from there, what happens is They go someplace, the father and son go someplace they've gone often. It's obviously a cherished tradition between them, a bonding experience. And something happens different this time in that instead of the kid going fishing with the dad, he's got a friend meeting there, and he asks if he can go and fish with him. And the father gives him what is surely a treasured object, and not only quote unquote lets him go or is okay with him going, but actually passes it on to him and lets him take that. So does that add up? To oversimplify it, is there something bad? Is this sad, or is this okay, or what? What's the overall mood leave us with? Carly?
It's like sad, but like happy because like it's kind of fun to feel like Hollywood and tradition.
Okay. I agree that it's a mix. There's some, I don't know about hurt feelings, but it's like bittersweet, like they're letting something go, right? Ashley, go ahead.
I mean, you're like watching your kid grow up.
Yes.
Honestly, that's kind of what I said, but like, like the dad's like, hey guys, you're gonna say no to his friend. Like, honestly,
Of course.
then at the same time, it's just like you're gonna let him go, but sometimes bad, but then you're like, oh, he's fine when he likes doing it, but he's with someone else, so maybe you can continue on for the future.
And the father is generous and loving in the way that he tells him to go ahead and do it. And is he a little bit sad inside? Yeah, but not because it's something bad, just because it's a milestone, right? And so that fishing rod, it's not just it is a cherished object. That's what makes it a symbol, right? It is a cherished object. It's a fishing rod, right? But it symbolizes maybe even kind of manhood in a way, right? All right, you can take this now and you can go start being a man and do things or whatever. Sorry, ladies, it's such a man story. But you could easily imagine equivalents, or or women have the same story. I don't know. Okay, yeah, so that's where it went. All right, so can we share a few of what you wrote? You can throw it into the chat. I guess you guys can't throw it into the chat because you're probably not on the Zoom. But we can raise hands, and we'll give double plus participation for having the guts to just like throw it out there. There's a whole bunch of them, then we're not staring at anybody too much. Thank you. Sophia's going to share hers. Try to speak up.
I'll try.
Yep.
I have a little bit of, but by including intimate details about God, and utilizing causal diction and informal syntax, Franco depicts the strong relationship between a loving father and a coming of age son.
Very nice. She packed a lot. She packed a lot. That was very efficient, which is good. She packed a lot of meaning, good, accurate word choice. And I like how you managed to put some descriptors on syntax and in detail. And it's very straightforward, simple language, partly because men don't, it's a stereotype, but somewhat true, right? Men don't express their emotions as openly and as well as women often do. That's certainly what he's showing by the way that he writes these sentences. It's very, just kind of plain, right? And so that does fit in with meaning. It's hard to write about syntax and attach it to meaning, but you can here, right? Because and that kind of, it's definitely part of the gender thing. Okay, good. Up. Oh. All right, Alex. In this excerpt, the author uses methods such as a limited point of view, a vivid description of the care the father takes with his fishing rod, good, and multiple references to the outwardly insignificant nature of this event in order to emphasize both the importance of this event to Johnny and the strong relationship the father and son have with each other. That was excellent, Alex. Thank you. Bailey, all right. I need to be marked. I need to mark this. Trumbo uses a stream of consciousness type of narration somewhat, yeah, from the son's point of view. It includes a detailed description of the father's fishing rod in order to show how subtle yet strong the bond between the father and the son is. I like that, subtle yet strong. Always want to look for a shift, right? And so if you kind of got into something like with how it seems a little awkward and kind of scary at first, and then moves into reassuring and strong as far as and the characters change here, right? The father goes from just being a father of a boy to accepting, being the father of a man, and the boy goes from like thinking I do this stuff with my dad to like I'm growing up and I can do these manly things with a friend. Very good. Anybody else here or otherwise? Okay. So what all those did that you need to make sure and do and not fall short of is characterize and define the complexity of the relationship, right? You can list all the devices you want that are accurate, put descriptors on them, but if all you end with is, which show a complex relationship between the father and the son, it's not enough, right? How is it complex? So did a good job of that.
I wanna, because I was like reading the beginning part,
Yeah.
and like, cause I was looking through details, I thought it interesting, cause it's kind of talking about like the outside, so it's like 9,000 feet up, and like the roar of the water and everything, but in like a symbolic way, kind of like the tent is protecting them, but then like he's letting him go fish outside with like a friend. He's letting him do it.
There, and we didn't talk about that, and I'm glad you brought that up. There's a whole lot of detailed description of the setting too. And so that could be another thing. That's the main two seemingly unrelated random things, the description of the setting and the description of the fish would definitely be brought up there in addition to the syntax. Of course, the selection of detail mixes in with those things too. Okay, good. I think we're done, you guys. Knock off a bit early. Get those phones back out. Since the superintendent's already been by, right? So. Oh yeah. I was like, thank God I came to this class and not my like 9 advanced class.
I tried to turn around, like, be driving time, and I was just like,
I'm getting stalked by the superintendent in the middle of English class.
you could have stood like right next to me, like right behind me.
I just want to see your screen.
You know, it's different, man.
You guys can go. Thank you for coming. See you Wednesday.